Welcome to my channel. Happy Sunday. We post Jubilee and we've got a lot of news. There's all kinds of things going on, so let's get to it. First thing that I want to talk about, saw in the Daily Mail this morning, it's now been confirmed that William and Kate will be moving to Windsor Castle. Apparently, we've known for about the last year that they've been looking for properties in and around Windsor because the intention is for the kids to join a school there in the fall. Well, as it turns out, apparently Charles has given them the go ahead to use Windsor Castle as their permanent principal residence, as when he assumes the crown, he'll be spending most of his time at Buckingham Palace. And of course, he's got other private residences all over the place. But he's going to be primarily in London at Buckingham Palace. So here we go. Um, they're going to be moving in at some time this summer. That's got to burn Meghan. Remember at the very beginning of all of this, where her and Harry petitioned the Queen to move into Windsor, and the Queen gave them a flat no. So she's not going to be too happy about this one. Just another blow to add to all the humiliation she's met over the last couple of weeks. We'll get into that in a minute. So, yeah, they're off to Windsor Castle, and they're not the only royals on the move. Apparently, the palace planners have been working on a plan to relocate Andrew possibly to Scotland. In a statement, and I'm paraphrasing here, palace spokesman basically said, "We want to give Andrew the opportunity to rebuild his life in private, away from, the public eye." That's Pella speak for out of sight, out of mind. We got to get this guy off of the public stage, out of any association with the royals. So the plan is they're going to ship him somewhere in Scotland. Well, he does like golf, and there's a lot of great golf courses in Scotland, so maybe it won't be so bad for Andrew, um, considering things aren't going great for him right now. He's had another financial blow. As you know, he's in the middle of trying to sell his $17 million chalet in Verbier, Switzerland, to pay off the debts from his case with Virginia Dufresne. Um, but as it turns out, the sale has been delayed because he's got even more creditors lining up that want their piece of the pie before the profits are divvied up. So that's just another headache for Andrew. Um, Meghan and Harry have had a tough couple of weeks. They came for the Jubilee, were basically iced out from really any contact. Apparently, Palace spokesmen say when they did meet the Queen, it was a brief 15-minute meeting and it was very formal. It wasn't tea with grandma time. And then, of course, their humiliation, being booed on the steps of Windsor, of the cathedral, but what do you expect? Look at what they've done. They didn't think people wouldn't want to talk to them after the Oprah interview, after everything they've said and done, and the accusations they've made, after the embarrassing public spectacles they've made of themselves, photo op after photo op, the staged photo op, photoshopped fake pictures of their supposed children. Everybody knows by now. I mean, if there really are kids, we've never seen a real picture of them because everything they've put out is proven to be photoshopped and fiddled with. So you can't trust them. I personally don't believe there are children, don't believe there ever have been children, don't believe she's ever been pregnant. But if they do actually have children. We've never seen them. But after all of this, they were humiliated at the Jubilee, the way they were iced out by everybody, the way they were booed. Well, everybody's sick of them. Everybody's tired of their behavior. Everybody's angry at them. And then they have the nerve, after being caught out once before at their meeting at the UN in New York, they've been caught being wired up again, figuring they were going to catch what they could, any snippets of conversation. Absolutely appalling behavior. And after all of this, they're angry and they're demanding an apology from the palace. The nerve of these two is just off the charts. Just, they have no self awareness, no idea of the impact of anything they're doing on anybody else. So self centered, so just it's their behavior is just appalling, and it's never going to end. This is what they do. Now Meghan can't be too happy with the embarrassment at the Jubilee. The week before they went, her appalling behavior at the polo, where she's trying to nudge in on all the photos and the big hat and hugging and kissing the polo players and trying to get her hands on the trophy. It was absolutely a ridiculous display of her trying to be in the middle of all the shots. Well, the other day, back from the Jubilee, we saw Harry at a polo match, and Meghan was absent. She wasn't there. Maybe she was too humiliated by things that have gone on recently, or maybe because of her behavior at the last attendance, she was told not to come. Either way, big blow to her ego. Some news with Charles. He's in a bit of bother, a bit of controversy right now, too. As we know, Charles has never been one to keep his opinions to himself. And despite the monarchy's role with the government, you're supposed to work hand in hand. Um, they're not to impose their beliefs or intentions. They're not supposed to push and pressure the government. But as we know, Charles has been doing this for years. He's been trying to peddle influence with government officials for years. Just look up the Black Widow memos, or the Black Spider memos. These are a series of letters that over the years Charles has sent to various political political people, government ministers, putting forth his view on things and trying to urge them to do what he thinks should be done. And peddling this kind of influence is not something that certainly a monarch should be doing, you know? And Charles has been doing it all along. Is he going to change, and is he going to um, stop this practice when he becomes monarch and step back? Hard to say, but I don't really think so. Um, what's happening now with him? There, in Britain, the Prime Minister Boris Johnson has a real problem on his hands, and they have had for the last couple of years, of illegal immigrants coming onto the shores of Britain, having left off from Calais, France. And they're coming over by the boatload. The British government is basically picking them up and housing them in hotels and other housing at the expense of Britons themselves. I mean, they're facing a housing problem there, and they're dealing with all these immigrants. Really, we're having the same kind of problems in Canada. Very similar situation. But so they've got all these immigrants coming in. The people aren't happy about it. They're spending a lot of money housing all these immigrants, and what ends up happening a lot is they lose track of them. They'll leave their housing, this or that, integrate in society, and they don't know who these people are. The immigrants have never been processed properly, to see if they do have a legal right to immigrate to the country. There are reasons to do so, but a lot of them they just keep coming. So Boris has a plan to, when they arrive on the shores of Britain, to ship them off to Rwanda, another Commonwealth country. And so I'm sure there must have been negotiation and some cooperation with the Rwandan government to put this plan forward, but this is what he wants to do: pick up the illegal immigrants, send them to Rwanda for processing, however long that takes to process to see whether they should be allowed into Britain or not. Now, Prince Charles has come out and publicly defied Boris about this plan, calling it abhorrent. Absolutely, Charles is 100% against this relocating of illegal immigrants. For one thing, it's a bad look for him to come out against the government, and it makes it even more complicated because there's an upcoming meeting of CHOGM, and that stands for the Commonwealth Head of Government Meetings. And these are meetings where all the heads of the different Commonwealth countries get together and they discuss their issues. They try to work towards a common goal. There's a lot of give and take, whatever the issues are at the time. And the monarch's role in these meetings is to foster an air of cooperation and an air of civility, where everybody can get along, everybody can discuss things, and maybe progress can be made. But now, with Charles kind of at odds with Boris Johnson, they're not going to be going to this meeting on common ground. Charles is diametrically opposed to everything that Boris is suggesting, and this will not be a good environment for the rest of the Commonwealth members. The Queen always, her presence made it easier for all of the member countries to get along, because nobody wants to squabble in front of the Queen. Nobody wants to insult the Queen. They're going to try to work together. And she was kind of the glue that hold everything together. And her presence helped them cooperate, helped them to work together, whatever the issue of the day was. And this was apparent even in Margaret Thatcher's time. There was one head of government meeting, and I think it had something to do with South Africa at the time. Anyway, Margaret Thatcher was not pleased with the agenda of the upcoming meeting. She saw it as pointless. She didn't want to go. She didn't want to attend. And further, she stated publicly that she didn't want the Queen to attend either. Well, of course, Queen Elizabeth said, "Of course I'm attending those meetings," which forced Margaret Thatcher's hand. She had to attend as well. But as the Queen, playing her role exquisitely, with her and Margaret Thatcher in attendance, it worked out. Everybody was happy. Margaret Thatcher, who didn't have a great reputation at the time, was treated a lot better than she would have been had the Queen not be there. So as it turned out, the Queen's presence was conducive to positive outcomes. And that's what she's supposed to do. And this is where Charles is going to fall short at this upcoming meeting of the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting. I don't think it's going to go well for him or Boris, considering the contention between the two men. But now, this interference in government, which the sovereign is not supposed to do, they're supposed to be neutral. Charles is, as Prince of Wales, is never really kept true to that. He's intruded his opinion whenever and wherever he wanted to, and we're seeing that now as well. The same kind of almost arrogant attitude from William, I'm sad to say, and I mentioned this on my recap of the Jubilee. It was, I thought, highly inappropriate for him to get up at the Jubilee concert and use his speech as a platform for climate change and the green agenda. Those may at one time have been social issues. Now we know they're highly political issues. And this is something that the royal family is supposed to keep their nose out of. And here's William. And you know, his role is expanding, his importance is increasing, but on the world stage, he's doing the same darn thing. And I have a problem with it. I think a lot of people have a problem with it. And I think going forward, after the Queen's time and Charles assumes the throne and William's by his side, if they carry on to act in this manner, I think it's going to alienate a lot of people, and it may not be good for the monarchy. But I guess time will tell, and we'll have to wait and see. So we've got monarchs on the move, meetings coming up, and we've got Harry and Meghan angry as ever in their little compound in Monteceto. And so it goes. Have a great day, everybody. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.